Program where various performers, craftspeople, and storytellers, such as myself, go into the schools and present their talents in front of the kids to expose them somewhat to the folk traditions generally.
And the teachers love it just as much, too.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
You said that coming in to do storytelling into a class is wonderful, but what is even better is a series of things. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about that.
Well, I believe that storytelling is something that people should do and not have done to them. So when I'm telling stories to kids, I try to encourage them to learn the tales as I tell them. And it's something that, it's amazingly enough, people can do, that you can learn tale at the first hearing, at least sufficiently to tell it in your own way. And I think that's the basis of a good storyteller, not that he learns something verbatim and can recite it exactly the same way he heard it, but can tell the tale so that the tale becomes part of him, and he can give it to others too.
Well, and of course that's the whole premise, isn't it, that the tale becomes your own, so you add some of yourself to it. The way I would tell your story wouldn't be necessarily the way. Stewart, storytelling is not just for children. That was a statement I made. Perhaps you could elaborate, because there has been a great resurgence of storytelling in the large centers, New York City, Toronto, and so on. So when I say storytelling is not just for children, fill us in on that one. Well,
to fill you in from personal experience, I think that we'd all been read and told stories as children, but I remember myself getting involved with storytellers and storytelling as an art form when I was in my mid-20s, and it really surprised me that here I was sitting in an audience, and here was a storyteller telling me stories about fairies and giants and whatnot, imaginative and fantastic happenings, and here I was, supposedly a grown man, sitting there with my mouth hanging open, you know, latching on to every single word. And then I realized, when I look back at that experience, that there was some magic in the oral tale as it was presented by these master storytellers that I had encountered, that there was something really valuable and not just for the young.
Would you like to start? There is a storytelling school in Toronto, and we're going to talk about that later on in the program, but right now I don't want to talk too much about anything. I want to hear some stories. So I'm going to present Stewart Cameron, storytelling. He'll introduce his own story, and I hope that you enjoy him as much as I have when I heard him at the Northern Lights Festival Boreal last summer. Stewart Cameron.
Well, thank you. I'd like to start off with a recitation, which is basically how I got into storytelling, because storytelling is very difficult. It's all free form, you know, and if you don't have a structure behind it, sometimes people feel uncomfortable about how they should tell a story. They have to have the words in front of them. But a good way to overcome that problem is to start off with a recitation, which is sort of like a story told in prose.